Hi, I'm Jenny. Welcome to the Messages and Energy Forecast for March of 2023, where we are asked to release duality. If you have never joined me for a message like this on YouTube, I want to first thank you and then just let you know briefly how I kind of do things. I open the Akashic Records for the collective. I am an audio channel, so I record what I have to say. I then transcribe it into writing. I'll read it to you in a moment, and in that moment I suggest maybe putting in earbuds and closing your eyes so you can have your own interpretation of the message before I come up with mine. And then I'll kind of go over the message. Today I'm going to be reading part of a poem to you as well. And then I will end with a card reading for the month of March for the collective. So anytime this message and these messages find you is the perfect time for you, whether it's now, March of 2023, or 5 years from now. This is going to be the right message for you at this time. There is a tightness, constriction, frustration, illness, imbalance, shadows rising. It has been a tumultuous time for many. Lots of twists and turns, lots of questioning of faith and thoughts, lots of going within. A lot of contradictory feelings. Things feel confusing and hard for many, frustrating. Even the weather has been unpredictable from one day to the next. As the collective approaches this earthly, global, planetary shift and change, as we have said before, times and things will feel harder. Time seems to move faster. Contradictions arise to show that there is no duality, that the divinity, God, Creator is an all-encompassing. It is everything and nothing. So when these feelings, this push and this pull arise, these feelings of imbalance or uncomfortable feelings or confusing feelings, these are to show that there is no duality. All duality is just a construct of human minds, trying to categorize something that can't be categorized, trying to understand the infinite. What if you release these feelings, thoughts, or social constructs of duality? What if you try to see things as all, as everything, as encompassing? What if you see yourself this way, not as good or bad, old or young, fat or thin, ugly or beautiful? What if you are everything and nothing at the same time? All of these are just labels you have accumulated and kept. You felt the need, it felt safe, it felt necessary to survive in this society. We have talked about shaking off labels before. But what if you shook off duality? What if you could be everything all at once? The spark of the divine is within you. You are everything. You don't have to choose one side. You don't have to be one thing. What if you just flow? What if you were free? What if you were completely free? Free of judgment from yourself and judgment from others? What would be different? What would you do differently? It is time to release duality. The equinox offers a time of balance. At this point, things will slow down. Things won't feel so tumultuous or so confusing. Things will feel calmer, more steady, more linear in a way. The equinox will offer a time to feel and be settled, to accept the duality within yourself, to accept the contradictions in everything you are, and to know that that is perfectly fine. Use the equinox as a time to accept yourself fully. Where you are at this time is where you are meant to be. Well, that's quite the message. First, I want to talk about the little message about the weather. Not everybody's weather is unpredictable where they are, but I live in the PNW, and it's been, for instance, today I woke up to snow, which has already melted, and now it's snowing again. And one day we had like every kind of weather: wind, rain, snow, hail, sleet, sunshine. So yeah, I think that was, sometimes these messages are, when we channel, our guides use references the channel, can understand so that we can explain it. You'll see lots of different people do this. they'll say, oh, they're showing me this, which for me means is this. It's a symbol for me. And so I just thought that was funny. But it's interesting. It starts with a tightness, constriction, frustration, illness, imbalance, shadows rising. I have talked to many people, currently have an uncle in the hospital, a friend about to go into surgery in a couple days, another loved one who's been very sick. And I personally haven't been physically ill, but I have been in the process of creating something that we'll talk about later at a later point. But when you really create something from your heart, from your soul, from your depths, I think you face a lot of shadows and demons and fears, and this year, a 7-year, is supposed to be a year where we face a lot of fears anyway. And so definitely feel everything this is talking about. It does feel tumultuous. It doesn't feel settled right now for anybody I talk to. People are looking at job changes and moving and just lots of things where people are not really sure. We pretend as humans that we have control, something that makes us feel good, right? That if we plan things, they'll just go according to plan. And for the most part, day to day, your day is pretty normal. You follow your routines and everything works out. But really, in essence, we have no real control, and nothing is within that for us. And it's just all an illusion, right? And so, but with that being said, most people live pretty predictable lives. But a lot of people I'm talking to are feeling like they can't predict what's going to happen. They're feeling they're at some kind of crossroads. Even the readings I've been doing on Etsy, there's been I'm reading a lot of crossroads. People are at turning points and crossroads. And these aren't just like little decisions, like as to what shoes to wear, but like big ones. Like I said, home, relationships, health, jobs. So if you're going through that right now, we're all in it together. If you're not, sometimes people have commented, especially on TikTok, I'm not feeling this way at all. Like, I'm having a really great time. Is that okay? Well, of course. Like, it's okay. If I say that a lot of people are feeling this way and you're not, be grateful. You don't have to feel like you're not a spiritual person or something's going wrong. Perhaps you've already learned this lesson. We are all here to learn different lessons, and the lessons go in a spiral. And sometimes you get to kind of be exempt from a global or collective lesson. So be grateful if that's the case. But I think that's funny. But sometimes people are like, does this mean I'm not spiritual? Absolutely not. They talk about the global planetary shift we talked about before. Some people call it the age of Aquarius, the new earth, the new dream, the sixth sun. There's all these different kind of terms for it. But as we move closer, we're just going to keep having more of these feelings. It's interesting. I was talking to a loved one about this who's not really deeply into spirituality or astrology. And, she's just like, why am I feeling this way? And I said, it's energies. It's the best way to describe it, that as we keep making these changes, you're just going to feel them stronger. And that's okay. And just remember, like we talked about last time, sometimes these feelings or these thoughts or these emotions aren't yours. So it's okay to release them. Ooh, I think I'm going to sneeze. Okay, sneeze is done. So then the messages go into this illusion of duality, right? And I think we're seeing this especially with gender. A lot of people are calling for this kind of release of the gender binary and these traditional gender roles. And we've talked about on here before that we all have masculine and feminine energy. And there's kind of like this want to release this idea that, there's only the two genders and, people can be two-spirited in one body and things like that. And so I feel like that kind of goes along with that as well. And that's not at all what I'm saying you need to do in your own life. But I just think it's another example of kind of releasing duality. We're very quick to judge things, and that's not our soul self judging and categorizing things as good or bad. That's the ego, the judge, as other people have called it, right? That's not our highest version of ourselves. And a lot of times we turn that view of judgment hardest on ourselves. We beat ourselves up many, many times for one mistake, and we definitely will label ourselves, that was bad or that was good or embarrassing or fat or ugly. These labels are heavy. They carry a lot of weight. And we've talked about on this channel before about releasing societal labels. But now it's like the idea of releasing the duality. Well, like, why can't you just be everything? Like, why do, the way our society works, we work in labels. You fit neatly into your little category, your little box of, for me, it's like, cisgender, Caucasian, female, in her 40s, mother, wife, lives in America, specifically the PNW. And because of that, there's going to be all these kind of labels that come with that. Crunchy mama, granola mom, stay-at-home mom has a lot of shame and a lot of weird kind of labels and judgment. The label of woman comes with a whole lot. The label of white or Caucasian comes with a lot. And so it's all these dualities that we just kind of accept. Because I am a woman, I have to be this or that. If I'm a mother, I can't be, a maiden or a warrior, which isn't true, right? We just kind of get stuck in these dualities, and we're being asked to kind of see this. It says the spark of the divine is within you, right? That's your soul. That's your connection to God, to the creator, source, whatever you want to call it. It's in you. And if God is everything and that spark is within you, then you are also everything, right? You are infinite. You are everything and nothing. You are all-encompassing. And you don't have to be stuck in these labels, because when we leave these bodies earthside, when we pass away and we are just a soul, all those dualities fall away, right? All these labels, everything's gone. You're just a soul. And so I think that's kind of interesting. It talks about, what if you were completely free? Like, what if you freed yourself of judgment? How would you do things differently, right? There's certain things like women don't do this, or women of a certain age don't dress this way or act this way. I'm just using myself as an example because I find that easiest. But how does that apply to you? What decisions or limits have you put on yourself due to these kind of constructs, of this is what you do because you're in this box. You can't do these other things, and you can't be, both an artist and a wife, or you can't be a lawyer and a singer, whatever it is. There's all these kinds of ideas that like you can only be the one thing, and that isn't really fair to you. It's selling yourself very short. So what would you do differently if you could just release those things? And then talks about the equinox. We have the spring equinox on my side of the world, and this offers a really great time. All the spring and the autumn equinoxes are perfectly in balance, right? You have light and dark, day and night in perfect balance. So when we talk about, duality, that's actually like complete duality on those days. It's perfectly half and half, right? And so if we're going to release or embrace these dualities and accept them and just be like, well, I'm going to move past them, that is a great day to do that. It's a great day to come back to balance. I'm going to link in the comments a good meditation that I like to do on the equinox to help you with your balancing. It also talks about that during the equinox, everything will feel more settled. So it's a time, it says, use the equinox as a time to accept you fully. Where you are at this time is where you are meant to be. There's a lot of, in spirituality, there's a lot of push to manifest and to change and to grow and to evolve and to ascend, to become enlightened, to be different. And it can be almost manic in the way that some of us approach it, or, we just have to keep leveling up and changing. And if we're not, then we're not growing, and we're not really on a spiritual path. But, what if you just are where you're supposed to be? And instead of pushing things, so a lot of times spring is used as a time for manifesting, for planting seeds. You can do that, of course. But what if you also use that time as a time to be in balance and just to accept yourself? Because part of the key to manifesting change is to first fully, radically accept where you are in life. That's the key that other people don't really talk about. So you got to first radically accept this is where I am, and I love myself completely and fully, and I love my life, and you start to have gratitude for everything you have. And then that's when you can shift and manifest for something else. But if you manifest from a place of lack and want, you are not going to make any changes, right? It's got to be from a place of love and acceptance and gratitude, because those are all very high vibrations. Those are all God-led, soul, self feelings, right? Want and lack, that's all ego. That's all judgment. That's all lower vibration. That's, like I want more or I want better, which is okay to want those things, of course. But how can you flip that? How can you love and accept where you are? How can you look back as to where you've come and the changes you've already made? How can you do that first before you start looking for more? Let me know what you think. I always love to hear what you think about these messages, so please tell me in the comments. I'm going to read a little bit from this for you, and then I will get to our reading. I wanted to read a little from the Thunder Perfect Mind because we were talking about releasing dualities, and this doesn't have like a really unknown author, but a lot of people attribute it to a woman, and it's considered, it's in one of the Gnostic Gospels. So written around the time of Jesus or after Jesus died, we're definitely talking like that time period. It says 2nd to 4th century is the guess on here. And I wanted to read it from you because it's the obvious channeled material, and it's definitely asking you to release duality, which is exactly what we're talking about. So I suggest closing your eyes and just kind of trying to take it in and see what it means to you. Sent from the power, I have come to those who reflect upon me, and I have been found among those who seek me. Look upon me, you who meditate, and hearers hear. Whoever is waiting for me, take me into yourselves. Do not drive me out of your eyes, or out of your voice, or out of your ears. Observe. Do not forget who I am, for I am the first and the last. I am the honored one and the scorned. I am the whore and the holy one. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the mother, the daughter, and every part of both. I am the barren one who has borne many sons. I am she whose wedding is great, and I have not accepted a husband. I am the midwife and the childless one, the easing of my own labor. I am the bride and the bridegroom, and my husband is my father. I am the mother of my father, the sister of my husband, and my husband is my child. My offspring are my own birth, the source of power. What happens to me is their wish. I am the incomprehensible silence and the memory that will not be forgotten. I am the voice whose sound is everywhere, and the speech that appears in many forms. I am the utterance of my own name. Why, you who hate me, do you love me, and hate those who love me? You who will tell the truth about me, and you who have lied, now tell the truth. And you know me, be ignorant, and you who have not known me, know. For I am the knowledge and ignorance. I am modesty and boldness. I am shameless. I am shamed. I am strength and I am fear. I am war and I am peace. Give heed to me, the ones who have been everywhere hated, and the one who is everywhere loved. I am the one they call life, and the one you call death. I am the one they call law, and the one you call lawless. I am the one you have scattered, and you have gathered me together. I am godless, and I am the one whose God is great. I am the one whom you have reflected upon, and the one you have scorned. I am unlearned, and from all people learn. I am the one from whom you have hidden, and the one to whom you reveal yourself. Yet wherever you hide, I appear, and wherever you reveal yourself, there I will vanish. I don't know how many times I've read this, and I get something different every time. So definitely take a look for it. It's called The Thunder Perfect Mind, and it's considered a Gnostic gospel. So curious what you think of it, and we'll get right to the reading. Okay, let's see what we have going on for the collective. I'm going to be using the tea leaf cards again because I think a lot of you liked those. I have a little Lemurian deck. I have my Inner Child Healing Tarot, which I have to say, probably one of my favorite decks that found me. I have a metaphysical library just right down the street, And over half my decks have come from there, either just found for free. In fact, one of my latest acquisitions had a label saying it was missing 4 cards, and it was in the giveaway. I was like, no, those cards are there. Sure enough, they were in the book, so it's not missing anything. And then I have the Energy and Spirit Oracle, which is a newer deck for me. I got it in the little Hay House subscription box. So we're going to take a look at March for the collective and, see, what else can we glean besides the messages we receive? What else do we need to know? And that's always what I ask when I shuffle and I prepare and I say my prayers before I start the press record. That's always what I'm asking, what do we need to know for March? The 6 of Wands, and it's funny because I chose this. This is an interesting story. I found this in the house, and it was this way. It says, you are a blessing. Butterfly has been coming to me a lot in the past few years, and nobody knows where it came from. So definitely meant for me. But 6 of Wands, we have all the little fairy children dancing around the maypole and celebrating life and celebrating blossoming and blooming and joy and spring and fertility. So, definitely we were recognized and we were seen in that reading. Those of us who haven't been feeling grand or feel like blossoming or blooming or coming out of our cocoons right now. We're still in that strong winter, going within and releasing things. And this, I think this card shows to me that, once spring has sprung, we'll feel differently. We'll feel like children. We'll feel lighter. We'll find that joy. Another cute one. This is the 8 of Crystals, and we have a child happily making an 8, which in the tarot represents strength, but also represents, infinity. And, there's a little bunny watching. There's so much innocence and joy here again. And so this is a feeling of being free. This is a feeling of being joyful and happy with others. This is a feeling of being joyful and happy on our own, right? Finding something that brings you joy. So think about that. We're looking at these inner child cards because I felt like we needed a little happiness, a little joy. And so, what's something you did as a child that you don't do now? Like ice skating. Maybe that was something you used to do, or roller skating, and you want to try it again carefully. All right. We have Beauty and the Beast, and we all know that story. We have a lot of interesting animals here. We got rabbits again. So we have rabbits coming through, which, of course means fertility. And we also, I'm hearing time, because I'm thinking of the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, right? And we were hearing in the reading, the time has been very fast, and suddenly time will kind of slow down and feel linear for a while, which is good. And so here we have, of course, seeing beauty within ourselves and others. And this is great. This is duality, right? The beauty versus the beast. But really, like, beautiful people can be beasts, and, beasts can be beautiful, right? So it's, again, kind of, I think, emphasizing the release of duality and really letting ourselves be fully ourselves. We're all both beauty and beast, right? We have both of those inside of us. So embracing that all for ourselves. And then I'm going to pull a few from the Energy and Spirit Oracle. Oh, the Healing Heart, love, acceptance, and romance. How nice is that? So looking at March as a healing time, and there's a belief, the 7 chakras are the rainbow colors. But some believe that you can keep kind of healing them and working on them until they're golden. So like a golden heart chakra would be a person who's very open and very loving and, receives love and gives love fully. So something to think about. We have sensitivity and strength, tapping the forces within. Okay, definitely feel like there's been a lot of challenges for many people. The beginning of this year has been rough on a lot of people. There's been a lot of things coming up, shadows rising, fears coming up, and changes having to be made, and crossroads. So it's time to tap into that. And I love this feather because it's like, you got to tap into the strength, but you have to also believe in your angels and guides, right? They have your back always. Up from the depths. Tell me this doesn't feel like January and February for some of you. If it doesn't, I'm glad. But this is me. I feel like I have come out of the depths and I'm still in them and I'm trying to get out of them and trying to come back to being a person and be a butterfly and be like a normal human. I recently had a very intense meditation, which I'm not going to share all the details with because it's very personal, but I died in that meditation. And I think that's obviously very meaningful and important. There was a lot to be released. And so we're coming out of that. And I welcome it. And then we have currents of emotion, uncontrolled feelings, right? So floodgates are opening. So we're going to probably come out of these depths and this difficulty, and you're going to just feel a lot of feelings, and that's okay. So remember, we go through so many emotions in a day. So, that's, again, releasing the duality. You don't have to tell people, like, I'm a happy person. You're just a person. You can be happy most of the time, but sometimes you feel sad, and sometimes you feel sad and happy at the same time. It's okay. I'm going to do one more. This one looks like it wanted to come. Confusion, many choices, uncertainty. Yes, this is what I keep seeing in people's card readings. I'm doing these card readings, and it's like I keep telling people, like, I feel like the same thing. You're at a crossroads. You're at a turning point. You're trying to make decisions. If you are here, we are all here. So don't feel bad. You don't have to make a decision. I think part of that confusion is because we need to release the duality of like being one thing or making one thing, or, a lot of times we look at like a decision like to buy a home or whatever as like this is our one and only house. I've lived in so many houses at this point. We don't have to take it that way. It doesn't have to be like life or death. So just something to think about. Okay. You make the best decision for you at that time because it's all you can do. And so if you're feeling the confusion, remember your strongest answer is going to come from you within, deep. So close your eyes and, listen to whatever is telling you, go this way, go that way, even if all the advice tells you not to do that. Or even if logically you're like, doesn't seem like the choice I should make, but it's the choice I want to make. Do that one. Okay. And then I do these with my eyes closed because they're two-sided. Healing. Of course, right? And this says, the Lemurians were healers, naturally intuitive and accustomed to navigating energetic-based realities. Again, we talk about, reality changing. We all have natural healing abilities that are advanced when we deepen our energetic awareness. When we perceive the world beyond the more well-known senses, we start to receive information and wisdom different from that which stems from intellect. That's exactly what I was just saying with the confusion card. A lot of confusion comes because your heart, your soul self, your angels, your guides are saying, go this way, and your logical ego mind, the one that's in the duality, that's in the social context, the one that's listening to other people is saying, no, do the other thing. Don't do the thing your heart wants. So we're being told, like, let's dive deep and let's listen to that inner voice. By tapping into life force consciousness and using the abounding energy alongside focused intention, we realize that anything is possible. Extend the margins of your awareness, revisit a situation from a broader perspective or higher vibration with a focus on healing. Perhaps the issue is simply an outdated or limited perception. You have the ability to align to a fresh new timeline inspired by wholeness. I couldn't have said it better, actually. Wonderful. All right, now let's pull some tea leaves. I don't really want to explain these. I like to kind of like let you decide how they apply to you since there's so many people watching. Teardrops, great personal sorrow. Okay, we saw that coming already. We don't doom and gloom here, so we're not going to be like, oh no, what's that mean? It could just mean that you are releasing some fears and you've been going through it emotionally. Now that's the case for me. I had that meditation and I was thinking for hours, I am dead. Like I couldn't help thinking that thought. And I had to reinterpret, what did die? What part of me did die? There was a lot of sorrow. And, that's just, sometimes we have to release it. A ring. A marriage will take place either romantic or business. This is interesting because we got Beauty and the Beast and we have the love. So maybe some of you out there will be finding new love or renewing some love. I love that. Okay. Frying pan. Trouble and accusations. Goes through with this. And accusations all come from the duality and the ego. So keep that in mind, right? We want to release those, let go of those judgments. Butterfly! A change for the better. Butterfly, yes. And if you're of my generation, every time you see butterfly or hear butterfly, I'm thinking you also think of the song from Reading Rainbow. It's not just me. Desk, pay attention to your work. Okay, so perhaps that's where the trouble's coming from for some people. Like I said, I've talked to some people who have been thinking about leaving a job or having a job change. Chair filled. Someone new is entering your life. I'd love to know how these play out for you. So if you really look at this reading and you take notes and whatever, I want to know at the end of the month how these played out. Dagger, fear, worries, tense situation. Yeah, this is the root of it all. This is the root of this. And this. These all go together. I'm going to put them together. And I'll pull two more. Grasshopper. Situations in balance that require careful handling. Okay, so we have to use some tact, right? This is probably part of this. Sometimes the confusion comes from us trying to please other people, you know, trying to make sure it's the best for everyone or whatever. And the last one, a new birth or a new business opportunity, stork. Ooh, this is exciting. So we have quite an interesting mix. It's like some sorrow, some tough times, some things we have to kind of pay attention to and have in balance, but then we're also having a change for the better. So sometimes, you know, we have this frying pan situation or these teardrops, and then all of a sudden things are better for us, right? And then we have kind of a change for the better, the new love, possibly a new person, new birth. So it's like, got to face these fears and these old things and release. Looks like a lot of release has to happen up from the depths, current of emotion. We're going to release the confusion, and then we're going to have some healing and some really good healing too. So I feel like the turning point is actually going to be the equinox. And then we're going to see a lighter energy, which is exciting and welcoming. I hope this was good for you. I love to know your interpretation, how things plan out for you. Believe it or not, I actually do read my email that's with this account. So please feel free, if you don't want to leave comments, to email me. I love to hear from you. And I hope you like this. Please share this with a friend and enjoy the month of March.